Am I the asshole for silently changing my son's name after my brother and sister-in-law gave my nephew the name too? So, here's the situation. My brother's wife stole the exact full name my wife and I chose for our son first, middle, everything, and then got mad when we quietly changed ours. Now my brother says I'm a jerk for gatekeeping a name. I say his wife crossed a line first. I'm Daniel, 32. My wife is Emily, 30. My brother is Mark. His wife is Rachel. Our son is 4 months old. Their son is 7 months old. Emily and I picked our son's name early. Like, first trimester early. We didn't wait until the hospital or anything dramatic. We were laying in bed one night, just throwing names back and forth. Some sounded trendy, some sounded dated, some just didn't feel right. When we landed on Lucas James, we both just kind of stopped talking for a second. Emily said it out loud again slowly. Lucas James. I said it too, and it just fit. It wasn't random. Lucas felt strong without being flashy. James is one of those middle names that's solid and timeless. It had family ties on both sides. It sounded like a name that would grow with him. Toddler, teenager, adult, not something cute that ages badly. There was also this unspoken layer to it. Mark and I have those short, traditional names that people always comment on. Growing up, teachers used to mix us up because our names have the same vibe. So, there was something meaningful about continuing that classic feel but not copying, not matching, just carrying that same steady tone into the next generation. One night Emily said, I want this to just be ours for a while. I asked what she meant. She said, the second people know, they start inserting themselves. Or they claim it, or they suggest changes. I don't want opinions. I want this to be our son's name, not a group decision. That made sense to me. So we kept it locked down. No teasing letters, no guess the baby name games. At the baby shower when people asked, we just laughed and said, you'll find out when he's here. Even my mom didn't know. Nobody did. Rachel, though, was unusually interested. At family dinners she'd lean in and say, come on, at least tell me the first letter. Emily would smile and shake her head. Nope. Rachel would push. Is it classic, modern, biblical, unique? I remember once she said, you guys better not pick something that sounds weird next to Mark and Daniel. The cousins need to sound good together. That comment stuck with me, but I brushed it off at the time. I figured she was just being chatty. Looking back, she wasn't just curious. She was digging. And the more we kept quiet, the more she seemed determined to crack it. We thought we were protecting something special. We had no idea we were protecting it from the wrong person. This happened when Rachel was still pregnant. Emily was about 5 months along, and Rachel was maybe a month or two behind us. We were at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. Nothing dramatic. Just normal family stuff. We're sitting at the table, talking about nursery colors and stroller brands, and out of nowhere Rachel looks at Emily and says, super casual, by the way, I love the name Lucas James. It's really cute. I swear the whole table just kept moving like nothing happened, but it felt like someone hit pause for me. Emily just stared at her. I looked at Emily. Neither of us had said that name out loud in front of anyone, ever. Emily blinked and said, what? Rachel smiled like she'd just complimented her shoes. Lucas James. It's sweet. I said, how do you know that name? She shrugged. You mentioned it. We absolutely did not. Emily said calmly, no, we didn't. Rachel laughed like it was no big deal. Maybe I overheard it. I don't know. I just think it's adorable. And then she moved on. Just like that. Started talking about diaper brands. But I could see Emily's face. She wasn't confused. She was trying to stay composed. The second we got in the car, she turned to me and said, we never told her. I know, I said. We went through every possible scenario. Did we text it to someone? Did we write it down somewhere? Did we slip up when she was around? The only thing we could think of was that we had a list written in a notebook in our guest room. Rachel had stayed over once while we were out of town. That notebook wasn't hidden. It was in a drawer. Emily said quietly, she went through our stuff. And the thing is, it wasn't crazy. Rachel has a history of borrowing and looking without asking. She once admitted she opened my mom's mail by accident because she thought it was junk. She's gone into our pantry and rearranged things. She's nosy. It's brushed off as a personality quirk. So, a few days later I mentioned it to Mark. Not aggressively. Just, hey, Rachel knew the name somehow. We didn't tell her. Mark laughed. Actually laughed. She probably saw it somewhere, he said. Where? I asked. He shrugged. She likes to browse people's things. Like that was cute. I said, you realize that's not normal, right? He waved it off. Dude, it's just a name. That line stuck with me. It's just a name. At that point, I didn't want to start a fight. Both our wives were pregnant. Everyone was emotional. I told myself maybe it was harmless. Maybe she just got curious. But something felt off. Not angry yet. Just uneasy. Because if she was willing to snoop for a name, what else would she feel entitled to? I didn't push it. I should have. Instead, I let it sit there, uncomfortable and unresolved. Looking back, that was the moment I should have seen where this was headed. Fast forward a couple months. Rachel goes into labor early. Mark sends the "we're heading to the hospital" text to the family group chat. Everyone's excited. Emily and I are genuinely happy for them. This wasn't competition. We were both about to have babies. It should have been simple. Rachel had what Mark described as a rough birth. Long labor, emergency stuff, stress. So when the baby finally arrived, we were relieved for them. The next morning, I'm sitting on the couch. Emily's next to me. My phone buzzes. Rachel posted. It's one of those black and white hospital photos. Baby wrapped up. Caption is long. Lots of, "We are so blessed," and, "After a long journey." And then I read it. "Welcome to the world, Lucas James." I froze. Emily said, "What?" I just turned my phone toward her. She read it once. Then again. Then she zoomed in like maybe it would change. "Lucas James," she whispered. "Not just Lucas. Not just James. Lucas. James. Exact spelling. Same combination. Same flow." And then I remembered something else. Our last name is obviously the same as Mark's, so it wasn't just first and middle. It was the entire name. First, middle, last. Identical. Emily didn't yell. She didn't freak out. She just stared at the screen. Her face went pale. And then her eyes welled up. "I can't believe she did that," she said quietly. Meanwhile, my phone starts blowing up. The family group chat lights up. My mom, "He's perfect." My dad, "Strong name." Megan, "Lucas James is adorable." Claire, "So proud of you guys." Every time I saw the name typed out, it felt like a punch. I wasn't even sure what emotion hit first. Anger? Shock? Embarrassment? It was like my brain couldn't process that someone would actually go that far. Because this wasn't a coincidence, she knew. She knew we picked that name. And she didn't just use Lucas. She didn't just say, "Oh, we like the same first name." She used the full thing. Like she stamped it. Emily said, "What do we do?" I didn't have an answer. Before I could even think straight, my phone rang. It was Mark. I already knew what the call was going to be about. My phone was still buzzing from the group chat when Mark called. I stepped into the kitchen so Emily wouldn't have to hear it right away. He didn't even say hello. He just exhaled and said, "Hey, I know." That tone. Half apology, half warning. I said, "You knew she was doing that." Long pause. "Look," he said, "please don't start drama. Rachel had a really rough birth. It was bad. She doesn't need stress right now." I actually laughed once, but not because it was funny. "You're kidding me," I said. "Daniel, seriously, she really wanted this." "Wanted what?" I asked. "Our son's name?" He got defensive immediately. "It's not just yours." I said, "We picked that name months ago." She knew that. He hesitated just enough for it to be obvious. Then he said, "She thought it would be meaningful." "Meaningful how?" "She wanted the boys connected. You and I have that twin name thing. She thought it would be cool if they shared the same name, like namesakes." I just stood there staring at the counter. "We never agreed to that," I said. "She didn't think it was a big deal," he replied. "It's just a name." There it was again. Just a name. I said, "You don't think it's weird that our kids would have the exact same first, middle, and last name?" Mark snapped back, "Plenty of people have the same name. Not in the same family. Not cousins who are 7 months apart. Not with the same last name." He sighed like I was being dramatic. "She really loves the name. She's attached to it, and after everything she went through during labor, I'm not about to take that away from her." I wanted to say a lot of things in that moment. I wanted to say that she took it from us first. I wanted to ask how he would feel if I did the same thing to him. Instead, I looked over at Emily sitting on the couch. She was still staring at her phone, and I swallowed it. "So what are you asking me?" I said. "I'm asking you to keep quiet," Mark replied. "Don't post anything, don't make comments, just let it go. Let it go." Like we hadn't already bought baby stuff with that name. Like we hadn't said it out loud at night. Like Emily hadn't imagined holding our son and calling him that. I said, "Fine." He paused, "Thank you." And then, almost as an afterthought, he added, "You're not going to try to use it anyway, right? That would just be confusing." I felt something twist in my chest at that. He was already staking claim. "I'm not making any decisions today," I said. And I hung up. I went back to the living room and sat next to Emily. She looked at me and asked, "What did he say?" I told her. She didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just said, "She stole it. And now we're supposed to pretend it's fine." That's when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was intentional. And now they were trying to frame it like we'd be the ones causing drama if we reacted. I didn't know what we were going to do yet. But I knew one thing. I wasn't letting this just slide like it was just a name. That night after Mark's call, the house was quiet in a heavy way. Emily and I sat at the kitchen table. No TV, no phones, just silence. She finally said, "Are we overreacting?" I shook my head immediately. "No." But then I hesitated. She said, if we keep Lucas James, people are going to think we copied them. Even though we didn't. That hit hard. Because she was right. Rachel announced first. Social media timestamp. Family group chat receipts. To the outside world, it would look like we followed them. Emily rubbed her forehead and said, I don't want our son growing up feeling like he's part of some weird cuisine name experiment. We started talking logistics, and the more we talked, the worse it sounded. Same last name. Same city, likely same schools. Same pediatric office, same dentist. Same sports leagues. Imagine school registration, I said. 2 Lucas James with the same birthday year. Medical records, she added. What if something gets mixed up? Bank accounts later. Background checks. It wasn't dramatic. It was practical. And underneath that practicality was something uglier. Resentment. Emily said quietly, if we keep the name, every time I say it, I'll think about her. That sealed it for me. Because this wasn't about winning. It wasn't about proving a point. It was about not attaching our son's identity to a family conflict. Emily hesitated though. I don't want to look petty, she said. I don't want people thinking we changed it to punish her. I leaned back in my chair and said, what if we don't tell anyone right away? She looked up at me. I explained what I'd looked up earlier. In our state, it's relatively simple to amend a birth certificate within the first few months. After around 6 months, it gets more complicated. Court paperwork. Filing fees. Extra documentation. Right now, Rachel could still change her son's name without much trouble. If we announce a new name immediately, I said, there's a chance she flips it again, just to keep matching. Emily stared at me for a long moment. You think she'd do that? I don't know, I said honestly. But she already snooped and used our name. Silence. Then Emily said, so what are you suggesting? We pick a new name. One we love just as much. We file it legally. But publicly, we don't say anything until it's harder for her to reverse hers. She exhaled slowly. It wasn't revenge. It was defensive. It was making sure our son wouldn't be stuck in some power game. We talked for hours. We threw out names again. We said them out loud. We tested them the same way we did before. When we landed on Noah James, it felt right. Different tone. Same strength. Emily smiled for the first time that night and said, that's him. We both knew what we were choosing in that moment. Peace over pride. Before we went to bed, she said, we're not doing this to hurt her. We're doing this to protect him, I said. And that was it. We decided quietly. No announcements. No confrontation. No dramatic posts. Just paperwork. And patience. For the next couple months, we acted like nothing had changed. Publicly, our son was still Lucas. Privately, his birth certificate said Noah James. Filing the paperwork felt strangely calm. We went down to the office, filled out the forms, signed where we needed to sign. No drama. No announcement. Just quiet correction. But socially? It was exhausting. The first family dinner after their baby came home was brutal. Rachel was glowing in that new mom way, holding her son and soaking up attention. At one point she said loudly, isn't it so sweet that the boys are going to share a name? I just love that. She looked directly at Emily when she said it. Emily smiled. Tight. Polite. Yeah, she said. Rachel continued, they'll be like little twins. Lucas and Lucas. She laughed. People are going to think we planned it together. I said nothing. I just sipped my drink. Mark chimed in, it's kind of cool, honestly. Keeps the family theme going. Family theme. No one asked us if we wanted a theme. Over the next few weeks, Rachel brought it up constantly. At my mom's house, it's going to be hilarious when they're both called Lucas at the playground. At a barbecue, we'll just yell Lucas, and see which one turns around. Always with that half smile. It wasn't outright malicious. It was worse. It was confident, like she believed she had locked something in. Meanwhile, we had already switched everything legally. Doctor records under Noah. Insurance under Noah. Social security paperwork under Noah. We were careful, methodical, quiet. And we didn't correct anyone. When relatives asked, how's little Lucas doing, we'd just answer about him. We didn't clarify. We didn't argue. The waiting was the hardest part. Emily would sometimes say at night, I hate this. Not because she wanted to fight, but because every time Rachel said the name, it felt like she was pressing on a bruise. There was also this constant underlying tension. What if she changed her son's name again if she sensed something? What if she doubled down? So we waited. We watched the calendar. Once her son passed the 6-month mark, changing it wouldn't be impossible, but it wouldn't be simple either. It sounds calculated because it was. Not to hurt her. Not to win. Just to make sure this didn't turn into an endless loop of name games. There were moments where I almost slipped. Where I wanted to say, actually, his name isn't Lucas. But I'd catch Emily's eye and remember why we were doing this. This wasn't about pride. It was about making sure our son didn't grow up sharing an identity because someone else decided it would be cute. By the time the 6-month mark hit, I felt more drained than angry. We'd endured the smug comments, The little jokes, the constant references to the matching boys. And we hadn't retaliated once. We were just waiting for the right moment to quietly step out of the mess. Last week, we finally said it. Not dramatically, not with a speech, just calmly. We were at my parents' house again, normal Sunday dinner, both babies there, Rachel doing her usual commentary about the two Lucases. At one point my aunt asked Emily, "So how's little Lucas sleeping now?" Emily looked at me. I nodded. She said, evenly, "Actually, we changed his name." The table went quiet. Rachel blinked. "What?" Emily didn't raise her voice. "His name is Noah James." You could feel the confusion ripple. My dad said, "Wait, what?" I added, "We changed it a while ago. It's legally Noah. We just hadn't made a big announcement." Rachel stared at us like we'd just confessed something criminal. "Why would you do that?" she asked. Before I could answer, my mom said slowly, "Honestly, that makes sense." Rachel turned to her. "What?" My mom shrugged. Two cousins with the exact same first, middle, and last name? That would have been a nightmare. Mark looked annoyed immediately. "It's not that big of a deal." Megan jumped in, "Actually, it kind of is. Same city, same schools? That's confusing." Claire nodded. "Yeah, imagine paperwork mix-ups." Rachel's face tightened. "People share names all the time." I said calmly, "Sure. But usually not first, middle, and last, in the same family." My dad added, "It's their kid. They can name him whatever they want." Rachel went quiet, but not in a neutral way, more like simmering. Later that night, Emily's parents called after hearing from my mom. They didn't hesitate. Her dad said, "You two did the smart thing." Her mom said, "You don't know anyone your child's identity." That part mattered more than I expected. Because for months, we'd kept this quiet. We'd absorbed the smug comments. We'd questioned ourselves. When we finally said it out loud, most people didn't see it as petty. They saw it as practical. Rachel didn't say much for the rest of dinner. She barely looked at us. Mark avoided eye contact. But for the first time since this whole thing started, I didn't feel like we were the crazy ones. We weren't isolated. We weren't overthinking it. We just didn't want our son stuck in someone else's idea of cute. The next morning, my phone rang. "Mark." I answered because I knew ignoring it would just drag it out. He didn't bother with small talk. "What the hell was that last night?" he said. "What do you mean?" I asked, even though I knew exactly what he meant. "You blindsided Rachel. You silently screwed her over." That phrase stuck. Silently screwed her over. I said, "How?" "You waited. You let her think the boys were matching and then you just dropped that you changed it. That's messed up." I took a breath. "She used the full name we picked first." "She didn't steal it," he snapped. "You don't own a name." "I never said we owned it, but she knew we chose it." He got louder. "You took away something she was excited about. She loved the idea of the cousins sharing a name." I said, "We never agreed to that." "That's not the point," he replied. "You made her look stupid." "No," I said calmly. "She did that herself." There was a long pause. Then he said, "You're gatekeeping a name." I actually laughed at that. "Gatekeeping?" I said. "We changed ours. How is that gatekeeping?" "Because you're acting like she committed some crime. Plenty of people share names. Plenty of people don't share first, middle, and last in the same family." I shot back. "Same city, same schools, same doctors." He groaned. "You're overthinking it." "Am I?" I said. "Imagine registering two kids with identical full names in the same district. Imagine medical charts getting mixed up. Banking records down the line. Background checks. It's not dramatic, it's common sense." He dismissed it immediately. "Systems are digital now. It's not 1985. That doesn't mean mistakes don't happen." He ignored that. "What really bothers Rachel," he said, "is that you waited. You could have just said you were changing it. Instead, you let her believe everything was fine." I said, "You told me not to cause drama." "That's not what I meant." "What did you mean then?" I asked. He didn't answer that directly. Instead he said, "You knew how much that meant to her." I felt something snap a little. "What about what it meant to us?" I asked.